It's See Something, Say Something. Candace and Cindy are two therapists aiming to demystify therapy and pull the curtain on the people who are conducting your sessions.
Surprise, surprise. Therapists are people too. Listening as we giggle, chat about culture, navigating life experiences, discussing the things we like, and mental health.
Hello, good people.
Hi, guys.
Hi, friends. Okay. We're in this thing again.
Do you guys want to hear a funny story?
Yeah, I would love to hear a funny story.
So,
It's a real funny story.
although this is going to look very similar to a video you guys are going to see, the ensembles and everything, this is a different day. It's actually a different month. Okay, so there was a kerfuffle. Let me tell you what happened.
Please.
Cindy and I were filming an episode, and honestly, it was a blessing in disguise. But we were filmed the whole episode, budding topics, and I like to listen soon as Kirsten uploads it. And after maybe 20 minutes, I was like, the sound went out for Candace. I talk with my hands. And we were doing an activity, and I hit mute on my mic. So here we are today, getting a second chance at potting, really. A second chance at life, you know?
I'm happy about it,
I am too, because honestly,
that day was
a little unstructured.
It was a little unstructured, a little weird. We both left and were like, what did we talk about?
What just happened?
What type of fever dream?
It was the Twilight Zone.
That?
Indeed.
So I don't know. I was kind of like, you know what? Let's take it for what it is. Something's telling me.
Blessing in disguise.
Right. Something's saying that we need to just redo it and come with some different energy and more research and more just preparedness for where we were at. I also think we were kind of shifting seasons, kind of like what we'll talk about. You know what I mean? It makes sense. We're kind of a little discombobulated, a little rejuvenated too, but also trying to place what's the next type of energy or vibe. So it was a natural reset.
I agree.
A funny story.
A funny little story. A little icebreaker.
And it was even crazier, too, because we really didn't know what happened. And Kirsten was like, I think y'all might have did something. We're like, we didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And then, Kirsten went and looked back at the tape.
And it was literally so fast. It was literally I went, boop, boop.
Which I don't even know what button
I honestly don't even know because I didn't even feel my hand.
Right. I think it was your elbow, actually.
I don't even know, but I'm going to keep my hands
to myself
and my arms within my little
restrained
area. And I'm actually going to blend one of my drinks while we talk.
Yeah. So have a moment.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Have a little bommy.
Well, we are here again. And yeah, so when y'all see the episode, just know we are here making things work and taking it one day at a time and giving ourselves grace. ASMR.
Okay, let's get the first reaction. I don't taste anything.
I was going to say, I feel like you're not going to taste much because it's chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll, aloe vera, lemon, maple syrup.
I feel like you should have tasted more, though.
All I taste is the lemon. That's good. I don't taste the chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll doesn't really taste like much, though.
I usually get a mint flavored one.
Oh, okay. I see.
Natural deodorant.
I see.
Okay. Let's get started.
Okay.
Cindy?
Well, I feel like since we're already kind of talking about what happened and kind of why we were in a place of this episode just may not work anyways. But we were gonna put it out anyways because perseverance, resilience.
Yeah. We got something out of it. You guys will see something.
We did. But I think the energy shift is also necessary and kind of just goes with where we're at. Okay. Scale of 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10. What's it giving?
I'll give it a 7.
Okay, 7's good. 7's good for a nice little natural drink for the afternoon. As for me and mine's, I'm having a ginger lemonade.
Yes.
With a little bit of Canada Dry.
Canada Dry. There's no ginger in Canada Dry.
It's good to know. Didn't know about that. Moving on.
Okay.
Thanks. Good thing I already had the ginger.
Did it just get really quiet?
I did. It was the AC.
Oh my gosh.
I was also scared. I said,
it was a quiet
and
place?
here we go again.
I thought the world stopped. I really got scared.
It was really weird.
Got really
You guys may not hear that, but we heard a very abrupt
We both.
pregnant pause. Okay. How does it feel as we are kind of in a space of preparing for, some new energies, some shifts, some new experiences? I guess I could go first.
Yeah.
I think
your answer first.
Well, do I have one? But I'm going to think about it. I will say right now, we are kind of in the end of summer. We still probably have about, 40 days left or something like that. I have zero idea. But I do know the end of summer is summer solstice, which happens September 22nd, I think. My birthday is September 20th. So I always signify it that way. I feel like I'm an end of summer baby. Some would say I'm a fall. But I'm like, I'm in the middle, just like I am all the time in my life. Like she's a cusp girl, in between summer and fall, and she's just right there. So it makes me really reflective during this time period.
Okay.
And I also notice that every time in summer, I seem to just go jet away, or I go have a big chunk of time elsewhere. So when I'm back in my home, I feel like I'm playing catch up a little bit. So this isn't the first time that I feel like a chunk of my summer was gone because I traveled or I did something or something. So I don't know, just kind of thinking about that and recognizing I do feel like it's time to kind of shift my energy a little bit, but shift it more towards myself. And I'm still trying to figure out what that means. But this weekend was really kind of a part of that. Prioritizing the things that I just wanted to do.
What did you do this weekend?
What did I do this weekend? What did I do this weekend?
Girl.
It's the Friday. Starting from Friday is a blur. Okay. Friday I chilled. Friday was a very
You were supposed to go get your techies together.
I did.
I'm I don't want to tell you.
I'm tell me, refresh.
But I'm looking trying to send it to your brain. Come on, Cindy.
Signal, you
Why
remember?
do I know your gender? And
Is there something wrong? She's good. It's what happens when you're on autopilot. Right?
Ooh, I know it too well. This is the first time I've been awake.
You know what I mean?
I'm very present.
Yeah, you're very present today.
I don't know what's going on.
I'm she's just conserving.
We did a little
her
switchy.
energy. I feel good though.
Freaky Friday.
Yeah, I love a swap. I feel good. I just feel So Friday, I have those moments. Friday, yes, I actually did go work on tech stuff. I took my MacBook to the Apple store and I took my my Apple Pencil. Turns out I had the wrong Apple Pencil for my iPad. That was so stupid.
Oh, it wasn't compatible?
Bro, why would y'all let me buy that in the first place when I bought it? Why?
Where'd you buy it from?
I did buy it from Best Buy, but at the same time, you guys are the Geek Squad. Y'all should have had your shit together and told me don't buy this one.
I don't see why they couldn't all just, be universal. They're trying to make money though.
Apple and the capitalism. So it's what it is. I was low key thinking I need a laptop outside of Apple, but it's so challenging to even know
because they don't last.
They don't last.
Those updates. It's
and
intentional. Marketing.
I don't like this part of being an adult, having to kind of go into capitalism and be in it and that's the only way you're gonna survive type shit. If I could, I'd be in a little tiny house in a cabin and I'd be getting my fruits and vegetables around me. I would know all these skills.
Yeah.
I would have my little, garden and I would have my food delivered, the meats and produce. And I'd just be in that cooking. Or I would order really fresh foods and things. But
a butcher box.
Everything is just easy. I would a slower, easier pace.
Me too.
Anyways, beyond that.
A little bit off the grid.
But still access to the city. I want to still do things, but it doesn't have to be so expensive to breathe.
It doesn't.
I feel those
everything's a business though. People are so greedy.
So greedy.
Disgusting.
And it's and I'm going to be one of them too because I have to live. I have to live.
But that doesn't mean you have to be greedy.
I'm not going to be greedy, but I am going to be getting that money on. So I'm I don't know what's going to happen, but I will never be slimy. I guess that's what it is. And capitalism gives me slime. Anyways.
Amphibians. You know how they always say lizards and,
I was
conspiracies
thinking,
and
what is that one? What was her name? Alex Files, or you know what I'm talking about? It was it was a television show on Nickelodeon where there was this girl and she turned into goop. And she would like seep through the doors. I feel like some of y'all know what I'm talking about. If you know what I'm talking about, please let me know.
Not Flubber.
Kind of. And like she was just like, I don't know, she was like, I don't know if she was shifting shapes, but I need to look her up. Alex something. And she was just turned to like a green slime and like slithered through the door cracks. That's how.
Is she a superhero?
She was like, I think she like fell into a biohazard or something. Anyways, that was my childhood. Back to what I was talking about. Friday, yeah, I went to go to the Apple store, do all that kind of stuff, and then I took myself to happy hour. It was cute.
Yeah,
I had a
you
moment.
went. Good.
I did. Yeah, I still went. I got these.
I was scared.
You thought I was gonna like do whatever happened.
Like, you know what? Matter of fact, I'm going back to my bed.
I was so ready to, but I did peel myself out of bed. I put a decent outfit on, which was self-care. And then I had like crispy tuna rice and I got 2 trays of it. And I got a little cocktail and I just walked around for them to tell me that my MacBook's dead and isn't going to ever come back to life.
He even they can't replace the battery?
There's no need. He said, oh, this is one of our vintage models.
Vintage? Sir.
I said, no, you didn't do me like that.
How long have you had it?
I guess it's vintage now. I've had it since probably 2016. 2016?
It hasn't even been 10 years. That's
that
crazy.
Man, with his full, I think it was 2016 when I got it, or 2017. But yeah, he said vintage model. I said, bet. The computer's dead. It would cost me like probably $500 to $900 to like replace whatever is wrong. So at this point, I have to get a new one.
Yeah, that's the price of a new one. Not the price of a new Apple, but a new laptop.
Right. So I was like, it's a wash. But it was still
it's a wash.
It's a wash. I wasn't upset. I was like, I haven't been using it anyways. So like, you know, I'm on the market for a new one apparently. Yeah, and then I came home and just relaxed, and I fell asleep before 11 o'clock. It was a really interesting time. And some of my friends were like texting me, like, where are you? What are you doing? I was straight
in slumberland, baby.
Sleeping. So that was my Friday. Yeah, what about yours?
You're not going to tell us Saturday?
I can't remember it right now. I'm so scared.
Birthday.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
We really are doing Freaky Friday because the way Cindy be looking at me, I'm looking at her. Cindy. Do you need a Momo? What's going on?
Sleep deprived. All right. I'm back. Saturday. I'm sorry. She's not happy. She's not happy with it.
I was not at any of these plans, but I know.
I don't know. I'm disconnected from all of these moments. But I had so much fun. Don't get me wrong.
So cute. She had a red lip, baby.
I did.
And it was the look.
Boss
Oh my
lady.
gosh, with your it was everything.
You liked it?
I screamed. Oh my God. I was like, it's a red lip.
That's the reaction that
and
I
it was
want.
like a matte. It wasn't like I don't know what finish it was because it wasn't like dry. It didn't look dry.
It wasn't super. It was a matte finish, but I think the formula of her products are just eating. It's the lip bar, and so this was one of my PR boxes. Yay! And it was the shade Boss Lady. So like when I put it on, I was like, oh yeah, this is that. And then I didn't even have like a red lip liner. I used the one the Ami Collet lip liner that I just used, which is like more brown.
Ami Collet.
So,
Amy Cole.
You know what I mean? So I did like a little doop, and then it was just perfect.
It was everything.
So those were the moments that I lived for this weekend. But
it was
yes,
cute.
Thank
Did
you.
you live for them?
I lived through them. I was there.
Through them. I'm so glad you said that.
I think I just wanted to like, I think my thing is like with my season shifting,
yeah,
I'm really craving more rest and like more like pure stuff that's just for me. So sometimes when I'm like doing all these other things, even though they're so much fun in the moment, I don't know, I'm having like a moment where I'm just like, dang, I just wish I could have my own like schedule. Like Friday, I was super happy because I felt like I was just doing me. Like, oh, I didn't have anywhere to be. I said no to some things. You know what I mean? I was just like, I'm on my own agenda. Mm-hmm. Saturday was kind of like that too for the first half of the day. Like my cousin came and she saw me and she's like, you just seem so happy. Like you got something to tell me. I was like, I don't have anything to tell you. I'm just relaxed. I really was.
Place.
But then I had to start rushing, you know what I mean? Just things happened. And then that kind of made me feel like, okay, I'm less relaxed. I didn't get a nap, and now I'm going to the birthday party. Although I loved being at the birthday party, I wasn't able to be like as probably present as I wanted to be. Like I wanted to go get flowers, and I didn't get to do some of that stuff anymore. So I think when things like that happen, my brain just kind of like, you know, like it's a little, something happens, there's a little wrench in the plans, and now I'm like,
Yeah.
So I did have a beautiful time, got to go to a new restaurant, take cool pictures,
So
get
cute.
dressed up. I had been wanting
was
to
a
have,
look.
thank you, I've been wanting to have like a night where I get dressed up and have like a look and stuff. So that was a lot of fun. Went to Double D's, met up with some friends afterwards, really danced, and like, yeah, we had a good night.
Really dance.
Really danced.
It's
The girls
giving
were
Honey. It's giving Save the Last Dance.
Oh, I have to show you an image. This girl was
Stomp the yard.
Yeah.
She said, I'm pulling out this choreography, baby.
Okay, the girls were.
I've been
The
practicing.
girls were moving. Okay, the body was moving, and then I got home at like probably like 2:30ish. I was out. Yeah, and then you see why I'm like how I am.
Yeah, now
and so
it's connecting.
I did sleep a bit, and then this morning I was just chit chatting, and so that was my weekend, and yeah, needing some shifts, needing some more internal me time.
Okay, so for the shifting part of the question, I feel like my body's like adjusting, not in a bad way. It's just like my body's getting used to like me being more grounded and like taking care of it. So like for the past 2 weeks, I've gone consistently to hot sculpt, and I love it. Like it doesn't feel like a burden or anything. Like it's just like a part of my routine. Like when I get up and go to pee, like I'm going to hot sculpt. So
Yay.
it feels great, but then like my body's adjusting to it. So like new muscles that haven't been used in a while, and then also like the stretching, because I do not stretch and I need to work on that because the girls are getting older, you know, mobility. And so like I do have some aches and pains, and so like I'm more mindful of my body. So that's like an adjustment. And then like kind of like Saturday night, I had like difficulty like sleeping through the night, and I think my body's just not used to getting that much rest. So like
that's
after like
cool.
5 hours, I'll pop up. So like I said, just like an adjustment period of like, oh, you can sleep more than that. So like probably trying to figure out a way to like adjust to that. So just like an adjustment, not a bad thing, just like getting used to things. Friday, I didn't have any sessions. So my sister and I went to the movies. We went to see Trap. It was trash. And like, I don't even know. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with M. Night Shyamalan. And he's kind of known for having trash movies. He probably has not had a good movie since like the early 2000s, maybe the late 90s. So like The Village, Signs, those were his films,
okay.
and they were good. But like these recent movies, like I'll never forget. When we were younger, we went to see
Even
Lady.
Signs was not that good. Like Signs
Well,
was an
honestly-
iconic movie, but like it's not that good.
Honestly, now that I think about it, like if I had to revisit, maybe when I was younger, it was pretty good, but like older, because my sister and I were talking about that, like walking out, and I was like, well, I watched The Village recently, and it was actually not that good. Like there's potential, but it just never gets there.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, how is he famous? So like literally this movie, no shade, it was like a music video. So his daughter was like the singer.
What's going on?
And so it felt like he was just like promoting her music, and she's about to drop like an album that comes out. And like, she's not a bad singer, but it's just like, where's the plot? I like a ooky spooky psychological thriller. Like I want to be perplexed. And I was just like, honestly perplexed on how this got on the big screen.
Yeah, like, and how do we make it to the theaters?
Okay, I'm like, well, at least I spent time with sister. And I mean, we got home at like a reasonable hour, but it was poo-poo de caca. So yeah, that was Friday. And then I came home, showered, did my skincare, went to sleep. And then Saturday, I spent the whole day with like the private practice that I work at. And so we had a training with my supervisor and the people who work there full time. And some of them have part time from like 10, and I didn't leave till like 6:30.
She was in that
Full
thing.
day for me.
Right.
But it was so fruitful. And so honestly, I've kind of been in a stage, this is just me being honest, like, is therapy really for me? And like figuring out what that looks like and how to make it work for my life. And so it's like, oh, it's not therapy that I don't like. It's just like the space that I need to be in. Because I felt like I was in a really positive space. And he was talking about like how you can really market your strengths and like incorporate that. And so like I really like nutrition and I'm kind of hippy dippy woo woo. And so like incorporating those in a way that's marketable and beneficial and like intertwining it with like mental health and psychology. Just like, you know, being creative. Like he's a creative person and he's like, we're storytellers. And so just like ways to like deliver stuff. It just was really great. And just being amongst them was really nice. So I was like, oh, what does this mean when I drop my A? Like, am I going to be seeing clients? Like, oh, maybe. So it was really nice. And then like we saw the new office that they're expanding to.
Okay.
So that was really nice. And we just spent time together and listened to music and learned about each other. And then I came home, took a shower, went to sleep. And then I woke up by the sirens because I live right by a police station. So I was like, oh.
Amazing.
And then my sister and I went to brunch today. I'm not going to name the restaurant, but it was trash. It was actually like a repast, like when you go to church or
That's
everything
horrible.
was from a can. And honestly, my sister was like, how is it so cheap? It was like $15 for a buffet. And that's why everything was from a can. And it was crazy because they were not even set up when we got there. So everything was coming straight from the kitchen and somehow it was lukewarm. And everything was so wet.
I'm like really disgusted.
And
Yeah, your plate was
soupy.
looking like jail food.
And it was vegan and non-vegan. They literally got the worst vegan meat. And it just was so thin. And like there's oatmeal on top of it because they use oats to bread it. I was like, ugh. And the owner was there and he was like looking right at our table. He actually came to our table. So I'm just like spooning it into my mouth because I'm like,
yuck.
And then we probably were in there 30 minutes. And I'm not even joking. The people who came in with us, I didn't see a single person return back to that buffet.
Oh, it's going to close soon.
I don't know because I went years ago.
Or is it? Anyway.
And it was actually better years ago. Not amazing.
What are they trying to do?
Years ago. And then they just transitioned to a new location.
Expanding too fast without their foundation being hardy. Yeah,
Heard that before. And now I'm here. So yeah, I feel good. I feel like the endorphins are going. Just happy, healthy.
I love
Present.
it.
I feel in my body.
Girl, listen.
For the first time in 5 years,
Snaps,
I'm
guys.
here.
Okay, you're feeling in your body. Like, that's a statement. You feel
in
things.
my body, in my bag.
In your feelings, in the gag. Sorry, I don't know.
about if I'm
I don't
in my
know about any
feeties.
of that, but
Yeah.
I just liked how it sounded, and I was trying to continue.
It's
with
okay.
your song.
I support.
Thanks.
Yay.
That's not my part in the show, but I joined her. I am not the comedic relief. Anyways.
I appreciate the effort. She's comfortable, guys.
I'm so comfortable on our cozy couch. Yeah. So I feel like Candra's, I don't know, I love hearing you be in this space right now.
I love
and
being
I feel
in
like
it.
that's so beautiful. And I think you've put a lot of work into that and like a lot of awareness into, okay.
Hey, guys. Didn't want anything to go to waste.
Whoa, not a drop. For those who couldn't see, she licked the chlorophyll bottle. I don't know. I feel like you've put a lot of work into kind of being in this space right now.
Yes.
And like, you have to in order to be self-aware to recognize like, hey, a shift is needed and a shift is happening. You know what I mean? So it's like, for you, if I can ask, sorry, guys. For you, if I could ask, what was kind of like an indicator for you to kind of recognize that like you needed a shift in like where you were versus like where you're at now and where you want to go?
I feel like there were a lot of indicators, and I just had gotten so used to being in a space of, well, honestly, I was so disconnected, like I wasn't uncomfortable. And
you weren't uncomfortable.
I wasn't. I just was like,
Right.
Like it had become normalized. So I really don't know if there was like one final straw that broke the camel's back per se. I think it was just like, I was like, oh, I want to try new things. And honestly, I really feel like the activity, the hot sculpt kind of shifted things for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that just was something that I kind of stumbled upon. I was like, okay, I'm just going to try new things. and that really stuck, and it just made me want to have routines. And then because I'm working out, like now I have a morning routine, and because I have a morning routine, I want to make sure I have a really good night routine because I have to wake up. So it just kind of was like a domino effect. So I don't think there was one thing that was like, ooh, because there's been plenty of red flags. I don't think there's going to be one thing,
yeah.
Well, I'm just saying like indicator that was like, oh, this is the last thing. Like this is time. Because I had been used to like not being able to sleep well and being used to like being overweight. Like that's just the truth. It's not body positivity. That's just the facts, guys. Calm down. Like,
okay.
Yeah, I had just been used to it. And then it just was like, when you have a healthier lifestyle, it's very true. Everything falls into place. So since I've been working out, I've been eating healthier. And it's like, I had all these resources. I've done it before. I've been slim before. So it wasn't even about that. It was just like, this works. And I like my routine.
And you feel good with it now.
And I feel good. And I just can see that things are changing. And I feel that peace. And like kind of how we talked about when you came back from like your surgery, like when you have that peace, like you want to protect it. So then you're selective about the people who are around you and who you're like entertaining and who you're not. Like you just don't have time for it. Just like, I feel good. I don't have time.
Yeah. Like why would I allow these blockages to come back in when I've worked so hard to protect my own energy
I'm unstuck.
and peace?
Unstuck sin.
Unstuck can. I love that.
Yeah.
I really do, because I feel like I don't think it's just one thing at times that would bring us to like awareness of like, hey, something needs to shift. I feel like we have like multiple indicators and you kind of decide like whatever is going to be that one thing of like inspiration. For you, it sounds like hot sculpt. Kind
love
of
it.
Right, which I mean, I think even like going to jungle to first kind of start like moving your body.
I will say that.
And then like
you putting me on the class pass was kind of like the start of like exploring through things, and then I went to a line based off of class pass,
like
so
seeing
it was
suggestions,
like progressive.
And
it was gradual. It was gradual, and I don't think I had awareness that it was happening.
We never do though. I feel like
you always have to be on the other side, like oh, okay, saw that process.
Oh yeah, like who was I talking to? Dang, I was talking to my cousin, and she was talking about like decisions she made 10 years ago that are now just like coming into play of realizing like, wow, you took care of yourself with a decision you made that long ago, which now has affected your entire trajectory of life. Like it's really the butterfly effect out here. So you never know. Like
that is so true.
I love that like kind of I don't know. I just love that statement. I love that like thought process and perspective, because you never know like what, is going to lead you to the next door of your life. Even being in the place with your private practice and getting to like be in an affirming space where you feel like even if this is not the community you stay in, there are places that will affirm you while you are in your practice of becoming the therapist that you want to be. Yeah. And also just the person that Candrace is, right? Like, and Cindy is. Like, where can you fit? Where can you create? Where can you find, like, more of you? Yeah. So I feel like those are the places that kind of remind us of that. And, I mean, that's why I'm so big on, like, community, too. Not necessarily I need to be kumbaya all the time. No. But I want to feel poured into wherever I go. And I want to be able to learn.
That's literally my prayer.
Yeah. You want to feel comfortable. You want to feel not just comfortable, but, like, people are pushing you out of your comfort zone in a way that's, like, for you and affirming.
They see your vision.
And they see you.
Even if they don't fully understand it, they see, like, that you have potential and what you're capable of doing. Ooh, I got to keep my hand over here. And so like like you said, like push you, because even being in a place of like comfort and being seen and validated does not necessarily mean like you are going to be coddled or they're going to agree with everything you say. Like you're going to be pushed, you're going to be challenged, but it's to grow you and it's an investment in you
and not
and
your
to shame
future
you. Yeah. And not to shame you at all. It's all about the approach too. And I've been in spaces like that, so it feels good to find another one in this new career, in this new season, and then kind of circle back about, like, the 10-year thing. Like, my therapist says that all the time. Like, you get to make the decision of, like, what you're going to do, but you also have to deal with those consequences. So, like, you get to decide if you're going to... what's it called? Circle the block. But then like that's gonna impact you in 2 weeks, 6 months, a year. Yeah. Like you get to decide which direction you go, but you also have to like deal with the consequences. And then like I think really what shifted for me was I had supervision with my supervisor, and he said, would 21-year-old Candrace be proud? I mean, is 31-year-old Candrace proud of 21-year-old Candrace? And then he was like, and would 41-year-old Candace be proud of 31-year-old Candace? And that's
Okay.
when I was like, oh, I was like, in some places, yeah, I've laid a foundation, especially like profession-wise. Don't really know where I'm going, but I think like there's stability and stuff like that. I was like, romantic-wise, no. And that's kind of, I was like, health-wise, no. So I was like,
Kind of like a self-audit and just kind of
so
like
that kinda
recognizing.
stuck
Yeah.
with me. It was like a self-audit.
I love a self-audit. And I think that makes a lot of sense. Like, would 19-year-old Cindy right now be proud of, how old am I? 21.
With 29-year-old, so would you be proud of 19-year-old Cindy?
Would I be proud of the 19-year-old me?
Like,
She was cool.
okay.
She was in that thing. She was learning. I was obsessed with the term nasty 19. I was really in it. Yeah, I don't know.
I've never heard that.
You never heard that?
Nasty 19? No, ma'am.
That was what I was saying when I turned 19. There was nothing nasty about it other
19
than the
was such a
places I found
unique
myself.
age.
Yes, it was very unique.
Like, I'm an adult, but not yet.
Yeah, it was like
Not quite. Like,
It was
legal, but not legal enough.
not legal enough. I was enjoying myself because I was out of my family's home and I was
In
experiencing
college.
life for the first time in that way. So I would say I was proud of her. I think she was learning, but she wasn't wise. Like, I was still making
Yeah. That's
weird
definitely
decisions.
the experience stage. Like,
Yeah.
you're finding.
Yep, very much so finding
Trial and
myself and my
error.
identity. And then would 39?
39.
I think she'd be proud of me. Yeah, because I feel like I put in work the last like 3 years.
Mhm.
And I
Yes.
definitely think like from 27, 28, 29, I think 39-year-old would be like, oh, that's that girl right there. Like, she did what she was supposed to do. She did what she wanted to do. And she was really like pushing the envelope. Yeah, you made some rocky decisions, but at the end of the
That's
day,
life.
that's life. I do think she'd be proud of me. And so I would say, yeah, I don't know. I think my shifts are kind of like the parts that 39-year-old may not be so proud of myself for are like, hey, make your nose your nose. And hey, maybe don't bend your boundaries. Like, are you a gymnast? Like, why are you doing backflips for your boundaries
Girl,
right now?
contortionist.
Yeah, I think those are the parts. Like, because for me, I think with health, like, I've been really diligent, I think, on just like understanding what's been going on with my body more in
Yeah.
the last, like, ever since I was misdiagnosed with PCOS. Like, that was like 25 going on 26. So since then, I've been on like a slow health journey of just like better understanding myself. And so I kind of feel like I'm kind of in that spot right now where, yes, I could still eat, better, but I'm working on all of those things. And so I feel good. I've always loved movement. I think and then like, I would say like therapy wise, I kind of understood myself in this space too. Now, the burnout, I did not, because this was like very new. So with that being a shift that I started to experience in the last like year, it was kind of scary because at one point too, I was like, is this the work that is going to leave me feeling fulfilled? I've given so much to everyone, family, friends, relationships, clients. Like, is this like what I'm going to feel fulfilled by? But like you, I've kind of had to think about what makes this make sense for me.
Right.
And I know that I've been placed here for a reason. And sometimes it's even more than what you and I could see right now, right? Like, this very podcast that we're doing is a decision that we made that in 10 years, right, will reflect back like how we felt.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right? Like, even this is a decision,
That's cray-cray.
right? It is crazy, but like not even,
decade?
we don't even have to think about 10 years, but like, let's say like in the next 5
3, to
or
be
even
honest.
low-key in the next 6 months. Like, life looks different, you know what I mean? And I think like even this is a perfect creative outlet for us as we are discovering ourselves in this new space. And so like, I'm proud of that. And I mean, the shifts that happened, I think was to kind of get to this point is like realizing like, okay, I've been doing so much for everyone else. What do I do for me?
Yeah.
Like, what are the projects that I want to see come to fruition in my own head, in my own being? Because I think my creativity has always been something that's kind of made me feel like you're a creative individual, but you don't always like practice.
Yeah.
And you don't always like push yourself to put yourself out there in some of those ways because of fear of judgment, right? For me, like fear of judgment, fear of what people will say, or fear of inconsistency, So I think those are my adjustment periods right now where I'm like going to be trying to practice more of that and recognizing like, okay, you've checked everything off your list. You've checked off the career, like not completely, but like you're working on your relationships. You're working on your health. All these things are in progress. But like the one thing that I feel in this like season shift that I haven't truly given like 110%, it's really just to myself and my own like pursuits, like for what does Cindy want to do exactly? Not what does Cindy's mother want her to do? Not what does my professors want me to do? Not what does my job want me to do? Not what does my family want
Your
me to
friends.
do? My friends want me to do. You don't have to say it that hard. But like,
Sorry, no tea, no shade.
What are all these people in my life that I love so much, like wanting me to do that I haven't necessarily done for myself? You know what I mean? So I think for me, in the season shifts, I recognize the need to kind of hone in more into my own like soul in that way. And maybe that is why I'm kind of like disconnected sometimes, because I'm thinking about it like all the time now. And maybe it's also because my birthday is coming up too. So I am in a reflective state, like Kirsten said.
She did.
She did say it. She knows it. But I think, I'm just kind of like, now it's the pushing past fear and activating faith kind of part, because it's the stuff that you can't see. You know what I mean? It's like you can check all those other things off your list because like they just, need hard work and like, it's calculated for me. Like some things are just like that as a controlling Virgo. But now I'm kind of in this space where I'm like, dang, she's clocking herself, baby.
Oh my God.
But now kind of being in this space, I'm like, okay, yeah, everything that I want is going to be like the pushing past faith thing now, or pushing or leaning into faith and pushing past fear.
Yes.
So that is my adjustment period. I know that I'm in right now, and recognizing the shifts is like, it happens every day. Of like, dang, I made this little decision, and it made me lose half of my day. Yeah, that's kind of been my like moments of like, fuck, something's gotta shift, because like, why do I feel like I only have 3 days, really like 2 to for me? I hate that. I hate it. I hate it.
I like how you brought up how like you're a creative person, but then like you don't really pour into your creativity, because it kind of is like a testament of like being your brand, right? Like as therapists, there's so many things that we direct our clients to do for their well-being, but then it's so easy for us to forget to like practice what we preach.
Right.
And so I think that also is like contributing to like personally for me, like my shift of like my health, because I'm always talking about health and like making sure you're taking care of yourself. And I'm like, I did not do that. And so it's like you were saying, with your creativity, your boundaries, your relationships, like we tell the girls that all the time. We tell our clients that all the time. But then it's so easy for us to put ourselves on the back burner, even unintentionally. Like we just get trained into those.
I don't think any of the times I put myself on the back burner have been unintentional. Or actually, let me not lie. Sometimes I'll be like, I have to do this thing because I promised this person this, and I want to make sure I show up for them. And I think that comes from my own feeling of like sometimes not being shown up for in certain ways. So I want to make sure I'm that person. No, I mean, it happens every day. I think our entire lives can just be one big fat projection sometimes.
Hello?
Yes, I feel like, okay, I need to show up for this person 1,000 times more, because that's just the type of person I am. I wanna make sure that I can be a solid friend, a solid partner, a solid sibling, But I think with all that, I can still be those things, but not have to spread myself thin. So I'm really trying to work on that. I'm really trying to figure that out.
What that looks like.
I don't know yet. I think like I don't know. I don't know my balance.
Yeah, that's not an overnight task.
Yeah, I think my small wins, which we should celebrate our small wins. What are our small wins?
What? They build up.
Yeah, I think my small win for this week is saying no to an event that I was invited to, that I was planning on going to, but recognizing like, I think I'm going to need a little bit more time for me. And then just doing whatever I wanted to do that day. That was like such a exciting moment for me. Like to just kind of like, hey, you don't have to go to this thing. Yes, they showed up for you and other people, but like just have a moment, have a beat. You can't be there. And if you're there, you're going to feel forced. I was able to say no. And then I was also able to shift something else on my schedule till next week. So I don't have to like show up in that way either. I can kind of just be. So I had a slow Saturday morning doing my own thing. And I think, I need more of those moments where I listen to my intuition and kind of tap back in.
My small win was me saying yes to an event. Because one thing about me, I will isolate, baby, and I will say I'm coming and not come. And I went, and it was beneficial, and it was where I needed to be.
Yeah.
So I didn't miss out on something because of an assumption or a pattern that I have that might not be the healthiest.
You know, we all have unhealthy patterns at times, and we are human too. So
Hello.
I'm happy. I'm proud of you for honoring yourself and going to something like that.
I'm happy for you honoring yourself. I
Thank
like
you for
that you
me.
brought up faith. I think that's a perfect segue.
Let's get into it.
So I'm glad you said faith, because my dad always says faith is glaring at God and glancing at your situation. Worry is glancing at God and glaring at your situation. And so, like, it's so easy for us to, like, not remember, like, there's a higher power that is directing us, who already knows the plan. And we get so fixated on, like, the hiccups and the stumbles. And so I just wanted to, like, say that quote, because I just felt like that was so fitting, because my dad would tell me that all the time. And it's like, we have to shift our perspective. And there was, like, a TikTok of a lady, like, saying, like, the place that you go every Friday night to get dinner could be, like, the place that people go once a year to celebrate, like, birthdays and anniversaries. Or, like, the body that you are not proud of could be, like, somebody's goal weight and things like that. So it's, like, all about shifting perspective. And I feel like we kind of are going to hit that today because it is about perspective. Now, this is gonna stick with me, guys, because we are gonna talk about like spirituality versus faith, because some practices I feel like
people, or spirituality with faith,
because they are connected, they intertwine, because people do interchange spirituality and faith. Because
and religion,
they all go together. Now, they have different definitions, but I do feel like spirituality in general is getting, like, a positive and a negative. Now, modern day, it's kind of, like, getting more of a negative rep, because people feel like that's you distancing yourself from, like, the traditions of church. And church, I feel like, is more... when I say religion, I would say I feel like that's, like, historical. That's more concrete. That's tradition, practices, inherited. When I hear spirituality, I feel like you're creating, like, your own practices, like what makes sense for you. Like, you're creating what makes you come back to routines. Yourself. Yeah. So it's more personal.
And a higher power.
Which I feel like your relationship with the Lord should be personal. Like, it shouldn't just be practices that you're told to do. It should be, like, practices that you're actually going to do and they actually work.
Right.
Because a lot of people go to church and have no idea why. It's like, well, I grew up in the church.
Something to check off the list.
Yeah. And it just becomes, like, autopilot. And it's like, are you really present? Right. Do you know what you're hearing?
Are you being intentional of the reason that you chose to show up in church this morning?
Like, don't just do it because you feel like you have to.
Yeah.
Out of guilt or...
A lot of guilt, shame, ego. All of the things that, like, you know, the Bible teaches us about. And I feel like with spirituality, I agree. I think it's leaning into practices that help you feel better as a human. Like, anytime that I've practiced anything, and by practicing, I mean, like, going to yoga, writing in my journal. I mean, like, you know, maybe I had a bath with bath salts in it, but not necessarily crystals. I'm just saying, like, stuff that was, like,
it's salt.
Soothing. It's
a mineral.
You know, wellness, mineral. It comes from the earth, which God created, you know? So I feel like
they was using minerals in the Bible.
I feel like, I don't know, there's a very interesting thing that happens when we start to talk about, like, being a person who is into wellness practices and then getting it confused with, like, worshiping deities or other things like that.
Going
like,
outside of God. And
right.
It becomes very extreme.
Yeah, it's very an all or nothing type of thing, I think, with certain people in different...
Which I think is fear.
It is fear-based, you know, which then limits you from being able to experience, like, you know, opportunities to take care of yourself in a different way. So, like, a couple weeks ago, Candrace was doing cupping. You know what I mean? I'm interested in learning about acupuncture and maybe doing that during my birthday.
Eastern
Chinese medicine, like, different types of things that are practiced. Not just, we have to also stop, like, having this limited worldview of just, like, I don't want to, I'm trying to figure out my good words. But, like, in just church being the only place where you can also find healing. God and have healing.
So crazy, because it's like the main thing that we say is God is everywhere.
Yeah.
We say it all the time. So if you say it, but then you just feel like your designated space is just church, like you are proving that you don't really believe or understand what you're saying. Like you're just saying it to say it. God is everywhere. He knows everything. He can hear you, you know? Like, it doesn't have to be like you can only be in this space. You can pray while you're in the car. You can pray while you're in yoga.
Which
you can
I
make
do
that
often.
your time. You can decide who your meditation is for.
And also, like, research your practitioners and people you go to. Go with people, I think, who you notice they have a light about them, right? They align with your own goals.
Yeah, discernment.
Yeah, discernment is real. You better use it. You better tap into it, because I think that's where people get also, like, kind of confused, because you could see I'm going to, like, let me go to a sound bath, you know, healing, you know, space. But you're thinking, like, you doing that witchcraft again? I'm like, oh my God, no. This lady literally has cards that are like passages from the Bible, scriptures that she's bringing in as
like
a way
daily
for us
word. There's
to
no
have
difference.
that daily word, that affirmation when we're doing this practice. You know what I mean? Which I feel like, yeah, there's a lot of like discrimination, I think, around it as well. So as two women who truly believe and love God and, you know,
love him to death.
You know, I understand that's exactly even how I got into the field of being a therapist. I did not choose that. That was a God thing. Like that wasn't a
directing our path, aligning our steps.
Yeah, but I also think he put me into this space so I can help demystify, which is what we're doing, right? Some of the practices that we learn along the way, right? As being women who are in a field of healing. Like there are different things that you can tap into, even as a Christian, that can help you feel closer to yourself, closer to God, and still feel well. And it's all wellness. You know what I mean? And it may be wellness in the realm of spirituality, but that doesn't mean that it's not from God or that it's separate. Certain places, though, I think will feel dark, and those are the places that we don't go because we have discernment about them. Like you have to know.
There's definitely some spaces. But that's anywhere, because that could happen at church too, right? There could be a darkness in a church, in a congregation, with the pastor. So, I mean, that's everywhere. There's going to be good and bad in every different category when it comes to life. But that's like where you use your judgment, your discernment, you pray about it, and you ask the Lord to like kind of guide you when it comes to that. But we can't just like close ourselves off and then shame people who are more open and can be more, you know, objective rather than subjective when it comes to certain things, because not everything is just so black and white.
Life is not.
It's not. And so to play a game, to kind of like sell this point, I have like a list of things that kind of like, it just depends what you called them. But like they're the same thing. So it's like, how can you really be like, oh, this is evil when you're doing it in a different space? So let me pull it up. Probably should be
She did her research.
I did, baby. I said, let me come with the receipts.
That's just
it's tax season over here, baby.
Okay.
So the first one is kind of like how people love to say like chanting or like repeating mantras or affirmations. That's no different between like praise and worship, or like repeating a scripture over and over again, or just like I said, those little daily word books that we have, because not all of them is scripture. It's like first part is a scripture and then somebody's writing based off of their perspective. And so those are things that we repeat or keep posted somewhere. So it's like
a reminder.
Tomato, right? Then the next one is like manifestation versus the power of the tongue. We love to say, if you say manifestation, that's like, oh my gosh, that's dirty, that's wrong, that's
also
witchcraft.
Like, it's not manifestation, it's prayer. And I'm like, okay, I don't know why we're demonizing this term. That's really what's happening with that. Cook.
Okay, so there's the power of the tongue, which is literally scripture, Proverbs 18:21. The tongue has the power of life and death. And then also, like, it says in the Bible, I don't have the exact scripture, but it's like, if we think things, it's just as bad as doing them. So, like, that's the same as, like, manifestation, like being very mindful of the things that we speak, because there is power in the tongue.
Right.
And we consume. So, like, tomato, right?
Wellness, because I feel like we talk about this all the time.
We
like, as it
do.
relates to your well-being, like, what are you eating? What are you doing? What are you watching? Like, what are the things that you're saying
surrounding
over
yourself with?
That's powerful, right? But
It
it's all about,
is.
like, also, what are you manifesting into the world? What are you using your tongue, you know, to really
And
affirm?
it's true. Have you ever seen those videos of like people who would like say positive things to plants and how they would grow, and people who say negative things about, like, it's true. Like, there's truth in the scripture, and there's truth in like people who label it something different, but like we can't say that's witchcraft. Okay, like, calm down. Meditation versus prayer. So meditation is very big with people who do like yoga, but then also it's just like a practice that people do on their own. And so what's the difference between of like meditation and when people say like I'm gonna fast and pray? Like, it's still a moment of stillness and like presence with God.
Yeah, and like for me, like when I'm meditating, I'm never like, I don't know, I'm not connecting with anybody else other than myself in that moment, and also connecting to God and connecting to my body. Like, in that moment, I'm really allowing myself to just like breathe, connect with my breath, to slow down. I feel like people go into even breath work thinking that's demonic. I'm like, well, the breath is what keeps you alive, you know? So we need to be able to regulate that and control that within ourselves. And that's what I use meditation for. I'm not using it for anything else. But it is a powerful tool. And I'm using prayer in conjunction with that, or even prayer first, right? Like, when I was really in my bag in my routine, I was praying, and then I meditated afterwards, and then I journaled, and then I did a little bit of yoga in the morning, all before work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was like a part of my routine, and it really helped me feel good, because not only did I like clear my mind, but I also gave myself a chance to talk to God and connect with my body. And so, what is the problem with us being able to tap into our senses in that way, you know? And the more that you judge practices in that way, the less, I'm not going to say the more you're disconnected from yourself, but you don't give yourself the option to learn more ways that you could be connected to your body.
I agree.
And there's lots of meditations out there that include scripture, that are faith-based. And then there's some that are not, that are really just breathing, helping you to connect with body, helping you to kind of learn your senses, helping you to slow down.
Yeah.
There are options.
And it's kind of like those moments in church when they're like, let's have a moment of silence and just like spend time with God. Like, that's no different.
It's mindfulness. Yeah. It's literally mindfulness.
Let's make sure we're not throwing any stones. That's in the Bible too.
Okay, clock it.
Okay, energy healing versus faith healing. So this is more of like being more objective. So like people in a spiritual practice would use that to like work on like focusing on balance, or like channeling. Channeling is going to sound like crazy, but channeling a positive energy to promote healing and well-being. But it's the same that people believe in like faith healing. So prayer, laying hands on people, anointing with oil, invoking divine power to bring about physical or spiritual healing. How is that any different? So like, you can't really wag your finger if you're doing the same thing. It's just like you're calling it something different.
Yeah.
And then the same like how you would shame somebody for having like a spiritual guide. That's the same as you having a religious like prophet, or like somebody at the church that prayer warrior, or like the elder of the church, or just depending on like what denomination, like bishops, pastors, you know, like there's no different.
Right. I think a lot of it comes from like fear.
It is
and
fear.
Then like a lack of education around different practices other than their own, based on culture, based on economic status, based on the spaces that they've been in, based on exposure.
But it's also ignorance too.
It can be.
Because there's so much and I think there's also a fear of like,
and judgment.
If we know too much, then it means like we're not relying on God. Like, I think people feel like if they stay in a space of ignorance or just like a lack of knowledge, it means like they can rely on God more, or like they're having faith, or they're just sticking to the word. But like, you can't just, you know, go based off what you hear.
Without works
is dead.
Yeah, and that's like one of my favorite things to say, because I always look at people who are just like, well, I'm just going to pray about it. I'm just going to pray about it.
And then
yes,
what?
And right? Like, yes,
in conjunction.
Because like God is also wanting you to put some work in, and also have some awareness around what do you need. We have to be proactive, right? And the decisions that we make and the things that we seek. I think it all just aligns. So yeah, I do think there's like judgment, obviously, a lot in the church. And then even as being a therapist, I've felt like really judged when I first started, which is also kind of, I feel like, made it a little bit hard for me sometimes to speak about certain things like that I would want to, like when I was kind of like, even now, like I'm into holistic healing, specifically like somatic healing, but I'm also kind of like, I shy away a little bit because I'm like, I don't want anyone to like see me. And now I'm like practicing breath work, and now they have like concerns about like she's
Your
chanting to the
relationship
devil.
with God.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't want that
what
to
side
be.
is she going to?
Right.
When it's
And-
like, I can do both. I'm not going to any side.
And
I'm
I think
being
I
me.
just haven't like built up my confidence enough like in that space to where I can fully like allow myself to kind of just like lean in, or I'm still trying to figure it out, right? But that is one thing that kind of like had me a little bit resistant in being able to talk about some of the things that I do with my clients. Like I have my clients doing meditations, I have my clients doing expressive arts, I have my clients doing like, you know, breathing techniques. Like I do a lot of those type of things in my sessions, but I don't talk about all the things that I learn. I think out of fear of judgment, especially when it comes to my own like religion and spirituality, because I don't want people to like confuse the two. I'm like, no, I've literally been called a witch before because I became a therapist. Like that is bizarre as hell. You know what I mean? For someone to be
Such
like
an extreme, like, what do you mean?
right. And we have to just be mindful of how you can harden someone who's in a field of wanting to help people heal. You know, you have to be mindful of what you say, because like now for me, I know I'm working on that, but it did kind of like take me back to feel a little bit more like reserved on who do I share what I do? Like, am I being judged, or does this person think I'm a devil worshiper? Like, it's so weird because I know psychology, you know, and that's like a cultural issue as well. So yeah, you know.
I think it's interesting because those people who have that scope and, you know, they swear they just love Jesus. But like, if you were to go back in biblical times and actually live when he was alive, imagine there was a man who was healing people, letting the blind see, turning lepers into like, you know, moving and healthy, no longer lepers, increasing fish and loaves, saying he's the child of God, preaching. I'm sure you'd be one of the people saying, you're crazy, you're not of God, and treating him like the people were treating him, and, you know, eventually led to him being crucified. So if you're this closed-minded, but you swear you love God and Jesus, how would you be acting in the time where he was present? He was doing miracles. This man was levitating.
Yeah, like
hands were floating on the wall.
It's
giving ookie spooky.
It's giving.
But you just swear, yeah, I would know all along. Like, yeah, I would follow him. I'm think you'd be one of the people shaming and battering him.
Yeah, let's look inward now. Let's be honest.
I'm sure people were calling him a witch.
Yeah,
a wizard.
Talk about it.
So I'm just saying, these are conversations that need to be had.
Yeah, just bringing awareness to it.
Bringing
and
awareness,
also, like,
no shame, just awareness.
But also just checking yourself, right? Checking your own like internal biases, and also recognizing like, how have I navigated the world, or how have I turned my nose up to someone who just wants to go to a little yoga, you know?
And then also you're ruining an opportunity to connect with somebody, because who was Jesus hanging out with? Like, he was not hanging out with traditional people as well. And I'm not saying like throw things down people's throat. Like, I think we need to find a way to be witnessing. Like, I think we should just be able to plant the seed and go. But like, you need to be able to put yourself in spaces that you're not comfortable in, and then also like be willing to have conversations with people who might not have the same beliefs as you. And if you limit yourself to just one environment and everybody has to have the same thought process as you, like, you're not going to be doing much work.
That's how you grow, though. And I appreciate you saying that.
That is how you grow.
You know, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations and being with people who maybe you would have never thought. I'm not saying to, like, throw your boundaries out the window.
Yeah.
But give yourself space to get to know people on a different level. And you could learn something. You could be educated, and y'all could share values. And also, that's how you bring people closer to God, and vice versa. I think that's an amazing, you know, share. Thank you, Candace.
It's just on my spirit.
She took us to school, baby.
It was Sunday school.
She took us to Sunday school on a Sunday.
It was on my spirit. It had to be done.
But it's also good because I think more conversations like this can invoke transparency across generations, you know?
Yes, there's definitely a generational gap.
I'm excited. So with that being said, we did do something interesting on 8/8, which was the Lionsgate portal. Not to be weird, guys, because we are talking about spirituality. That's something that I recently just learned about. And I was telling Kendra, so I was like, because we had set up a yoga class for our job and it just happened to fall on 8/8, which is apparently like the biggest day for manifestation, and just being able to lean into like what you want, your power.
Lionsgate.
Right. So the reason why it's called Lionsgate, they said it's Leo season. Okay. And then they said...
It was a little ookie spooky. I wasn't like...
The
veil is very... What is it? The veil is vulnerable and the spirit world and the earth world. I said, uh-oh.
I had to detach all of those terms. I only picked the ones I like.
I said, we're going to have to make this a little bit more palatable for the people because they're definitely going to be calling us witches and putting us on the fire pit.
They said, and where did you guys go? Listen, like I said, we had to look it up. And we had to do our research.
Yeah, we did. We did.
So manifestation exercises usually include like meditation, positive visualization, journaling, affirmations, those type of things.
Yeah.
And so... yeah, the Lionsgate portal, I think that day just kind of allowed us to be in a flow state. And so it was kind of interesting because we ended up going to yoga. And so we went to yoga that day. I was feeling powerful. I don't think there's anything necessarily on my mind, but I was kind of just in a place of like, okay, I'm embracing the shifts. Things are happening. And I think you were feeling really good that day.
I was feeling good. I said, this is my second workout of the day.
Yeah, you were happy.
My body is moving. I'm getting stronger. I was like... my body is a vessel. God is good.
And I'm taking care of it. And I think...
taking care of it.
I think, did I go to yoga? I think I went to Pilates that morning, too.
You did.
Yeah.
We both did.
Yeah, I had a full day. I went to Pilates. I went to the jail. And then I came and I did a little yoga. Yeah, I was like getting a lot of inspiration from all different types of places,
Every space.
Yes, was getting rooted.
Because God's everywhere.
God is everywhere in the jails. And he took me there. You know, there was a reason I went up there that day. And that's a thing, too. So, like, I'm recognizing that. I'm leaning in, even though it was like, I was low-key like, if I ain't got my badge, we could just, nope.
Worked it out.
Took
God said, no, you need to be the one who goes.
And I understand why, because I heard some interesting stories that day.
And you were the one who needed to receive it, because you were able to handle that.
I guess so. I
want that to fall on Cindy's ears.
I think he did. And so, yeah, like, you know, even in that space, like trying to still find power within like even the most vulnerable spaces. And so that's kind of what I took it as. I don't know much, but I know it was a powerful day for manifestation, for what you want, where do you want to be. And I think also just overall reflection. So it was perfect that our class, Posing with Purpose, was really that day and kind of just landed in alignment. We took a few girls with us, and I think even for them, right, being able to be more aware of their bodies and recognize like what do they need, and be in a beautiful space, right, that helped them see themselves.
Stunning,
like
they had gifts.
It was a beautiful time. And so speaking of gifts. We got gifts as well, and we got these cards that were laid out. So it was a random, right? But I don't think anything's really random sometimes.
No.
And yeah, we both got cards.
It aligned with what I needed. I said, wow, that's God.
Right, speaking to you. So what did yours say?
Mine said, the moment I realign with love, clear direction is presented to me. And that could be self-love. That could be God's love. And so... for me, I took it as a sign of like, okay, once I like get back focused and in my body of like what Candace needs and what Candace is passionate about and what fills Candace's cup, then there's a clear direction. That's what had been happening. So to see it like on a card, I said, oh my gosh, that was God. I literally said that. I said, that's God. Wow. So yeah.
Aligning with you and like affirming that you're going in the right direction. I think I've been praying a lot for direction.
Girl, me too.
But that particular day, my card said, when I lean on the faith of the universe, peace becomes real. And you know what? To be honest, in that moment, I did not resonate with that card. I was like, okay. Anyways, I said, what the rest of y'all got? It's like,
we do a little shuffle.
I was like, everybody else? So I'll read it one more time. When I lean on the faith of the universe, God, peace becomes real. I think...
giving it to God.
Pretty much, you know what I mean? And, you know, earlier in the episode, I was talking about faith and kind of needing to, like, really practice, like, some radical faith now. There are just some things
radical faith?
No, seriously. There's some things I just cannot see. Like, I love
it.
I don't think I'm in the space of Cindy needs to do anything crazy anymore. I think it's just like I need to lean into the gifts that I've already been given and just allow things to like happen, the good things to happen that are supposed to. I think I can hinder some of that sometimes just by not like really, really receiving those gifts or like receiving them in power.
Yeah.
But I think this is the season of just like, okay, it's time. You don't know what's going to happen on the other side, but it's going to become real and real in the best way possible. So I think that's kind of how I take it. Just like allowing God to do what he's going to do and stop trying to figure everything out.
Yeah, that control piece.
I do struggle with that.
Faith is a lot of like relying on God and just trust.
Right. And so I think for me, like, there's nothing more to do. I've done, I think, I've done all I can do.
It's above me now.
Like, I've gotten to a good confidence space with myself. Anything else that happens now isn't my plan. So I think that's kind of what my card was affirming.
It was never our plan.
Girl, nothing was really my plan.
That's the Gagiana.
And I thought it was.
It's cute. He's like, yeah, you guys can say, like, you guys can plan, but when we plan, the Lord laughs.
Yeah. And
we're going to get where we need to go.
Right. And I think the more you try to plan, the slower I think wherever you're trying to go gets. And I think
you're low-key setting up little obstacles.
Right. Like, you can plan in some ways, right? Like, I think...
In some ways, yeah.
I think, yeah, like, I love how Cantress was talking about her morning routine and being able to, like, tap into that. That's a plan. You know, that's a good plan for yourself. But as it relates to planning, like, every last inch of, like, where your career is going to go, what's the next relationship going to look like? Who are you going to be with? Who are you going to, like... There are certain things I just can't see anymore, you know? And I think I've done all that I can do. And so now I'm looking for peace. And I'm going to rely on God.
And that will allow you to rest more, too.
Period.
It's all locked in.
Yeah, something's going on there.
God is in this space. Okay. He's here. He's feeling it.
I think you're right about that. Yeah, because I relax for sure, like mental relaxation. But like as it relates to like, is she fully feeling it every time she does get to like have moments of peace? No. I'm like doom scrolling, or I'm like trying to find someone to chat to.
On to the next.
Or I'm very much so, okay. And then I have 2 hours left of my day, you know? So I need to really be intentional about my own peace now.
So true.
And I'm excited about that.
I'm excited. So, you're excited. Yeah. We're all excited.
We're all excited. Well,
wow, so
fruitful.
I think
we're kind of like here. I think we're going to go on to our next like budding topics. But before we go, thank you guys for listening.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for tuning in and supporting us.
Thank you so much.
We hope that
we're growing day by day.
We are growing day by day. And we hope that y'all are too. I'm sure y'all are. Because if y'all are listening, you're interested in, you know, some of this work and also just being able to hear from us in this type of way. So I think y'all are growing too.
Oh, I could cry.
I know.
I'm not going to because I'm just really present. And my emotions are under control.
Always cry.
I'm not dysregulated. On that note.
All right, y'all.
Over and out. Bye. Bye.